Um, and then I have to ask again now that it's recording. Do I have your permission to record this?
Yes, you do.
Okay, great. Okay, so can you please state your name, your occupation, and just how you're kind of involved in the teachers union?
Okay, so my name is Joshua Carolan. I'm a middle school teacher at Los Ritos Middle School. I teach history there. Um, and I've been a UACT member for my entire 20-year career. Previously, I served as a site rep, as a executive board member for representing the high school, and then negotiating team member and vice president.
Awesome. Okay. And then so what position are you running for?
I'm running for president.
Okay. And then okay, so what do you think defines a good teachers union president?
I think the most important thing is to listen to your members, and find out what their needs are, um, and then to respond. Some needs are site-based, which takes a conversation with the administration at the school. Some are broader than that and would deal with conversations with the school board, the district office personnel, those kinds of things.
Okay. And then so in your opinion, what does it mean to support teachers?
So again, I think that listening to what their needs are, there is a broad range of people who are part of our union. Our union represents everybody from elementary school, middle school, high school, but also teachers on special assignments, nurses, all kinds of other specialty programs that we're responsible for representing. So you have to know what their needs are to understand how best to serve them. And I think having an open door policy and being willing to listen to what people's issues are, what their concerns are, that's the most important thing that you can do in order to represent. You need to know what what you're fighting for in order to know how best to tackle that.
Okay. Awesome. And then so what are some goals that you would work towards should you be elected?
So I think we need to work at building better relationships with the other parties involved in how a school district runs. So there are three parties that work within the district. That would be the teachers union, the district office personnel, people like the superintendent, assistant superintendents, those types of people, and then the board members, the school board members. So building relationships throughout those groups, I think, is important, but also community outreach and making sure that the public knows what the teachers are doing, what the needs of teachers are, those sorts of things. Because ultimately, that's why we're all here, is to support the students and their families in providing the best education that we can. And we need to make sure that we are all working in the same direction.
Mhm. Okay, so you kind of already touched on this a bit, but can you maybe just expand on how your background in education has qualified you to be union president?
Sure. So I, again, have been teaching for 20 years. I've taught at the high school level at both Thousand Oaks High School and Conejo Valley High School, the continuation school. I've taught at middle school. I have my master's in education. I also have a law degree in with specializations in contract law, labor law, and I shouldn't say specializations, but emphasis in labor law, contract law, negotiations. So I again, I've been around the union, and I understand how the process works. I would just like to bring my unique skill set to the office of president so that I can help out the best I can.
Awesome. Okay, so what do you think a relationship between the union and the district should be?
I think it should be a partnership, where there is mutual respect and open lines of communication always. When I started teaching, my mentor teacher at Thousand Oaks High School, a gentleman named Jerry Morris, was the vice president of the union at the time. And he was everybody's go-to guy, not just teachers, but site administrators, board members would come to him and ask questions and things like that. And at that time, the atmosphere of the district as a whole was a lot more positive because there was this open line of communication where Jerry was the conduit to making sure that things were discussed and settled before they even became issues. A lot of problems that I see going on right now are partly due to communication breakdown, inability of different parties to communicate effectively with each other is causing there to be friction, and that's what happens when communication breaks down.
Okay. And then, so what are some ways that you would help establish an atmosphere where teachers feel supported and feel that they're working in a safe and positive environment?
All right, so teacher safety is number one. And that's definitely a complicated issue, um, which needs to be worked with both the board and the district office. As again, as far as feeling supported, I want to make sure that there's that open door policy that I talked about earlier. I also think it's important to highlight the amazing things that teachers are doing every day. At board meetings, any member of the community can take 3 minutes of time and speak on any issue. And I hope through discussion, I can actually have delegated time where I can speak as the union president. But if not, I can take those 3 minutes and basically have a celebration for a teacher or two per meeting where we're celebrating what they're doing, the amazing things that they're doing. And it really is amazing when you go into the classrooms and see what teachers are doing every day. It really is remarkable what they're able to do.
Yeah, cool. And then so this is kind of broad, but what working conditions do you plan to improve for your teachers should you be elected?
So there are definitely safety issues that need to be addressed. There are just work environment issues, making sure that everybody feels that they are heard as professionals. I think that we need to help reduce workloads for certain teachers in certain areas. I think improving, for example, elementary school teachers, they don't have a dedicated prep time. Most high school teachers, secondary teachers have a prep period. They don't have that at the elementary level. They basically only get time to prep for their kids while the kids are either at PE or music, and that only happens twice a week total. So working on that, coming up with ways to help elementary teachers feel prep for their kids, because again, with secondary, you're with your kids for an hour and a half, depending on what school it is, and then you transition. For them, they're with those little guys all day long, and the transitions are real quick. You got to go. You can't keep a 6-year-old's attention for an hour. It's more like 10 minutes. So making sure that they feel supported in that. And then overall, just making sure that teachers feel appreciated. Like I said, speaking out at the board meetings and things like that, celebrating who and what they're doing.
Okay, awesome. And then, okay, so how would you go about supporting teachers, even if it means upsetting the districts, or what kind of strategies would you implement when these challenges come up?
Well, I'm not sure about how what you mean about upsetting the district, because again, friction is going to happen. I mean, this is a system where not every interest is pushing in the same direction, and I understand that. But that's where the relationships come in. Relationships are all about give and take, and so working with the district to make sure that compromises are reached, and that the best possible outcomes are met. Nobody's going to be 100% happy 100% of the time. That's just not realistic. But making sure that we're working together to try to move forward, and listening to every person's concerns, and not just certain groups who tend to be louder than other groups. Again, there's going to be friction. That's just the nature of the beast. But if you have healthy relationships, then friction is just it's a minor inconvenience. It's not an obstacle.
Okay. Thank you. And then, so this is my last question. So recently there's been a lot of discussion, a lot of debate about cell phone policies in school. So I was just wondering what your kind of ideas or takes are regarding cell phone usage.
So I get cell phone usage is a major issue. And I think different school sites are dealing with it differently. I can only speak to it from my experience at Los Cerritos. My past experiences at the other schools was really before a lot of kids had access to a lot of the different apps and things like that that are out there. So at Los Cerritos, and I believe at most of the middle schools, there is a no cell phone policy. And I think that that's a wise thing for the grade level that we deal with. Uh, the distraction that it causes, and I don't mean just like pulling out your phone in class, but the constant concern about checking in and seeing what you're missing and all of that, I think distracts students from the learning process. And I think there is definitely discussion to be had about as kids mature, going from sixth grade to eighth grade to high school, maybe having a tiered system where there's more access to the phones over time. I know a lot of high school teachers allow their students to have access. A lot of high school teachers actually use cell phones in the class as part of the teaching process. And so I think that there needs to be flexibility, but as a general rule, I do not think that they belong at the elementary school at all. Those kids are just too young to if they have a cell phone for emergencies, that's fine, but not out. Middle school, we need to be a little bit more flexible with it. But I think there's also needs to be a whole educational process that goes into explaining to kids when it is and is not appropriate to have their cell phones out. And this is not just a school issue. We see this in society as well too, where people just don't realize that there's certain times where you really shouldn't be pulling out your cell phone. I don't know. Do you drive?
Yeah.
And how many times have you been stuck behind a guy and the light's been green for the last minute and
Oh,
they're just still
yes,
sitting there and you're like, okay, guy,
definitely.
come on, get off your phone. So I think that an education process would be important there. So
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Those are all the questions I have. Is there anything else that you'd like to share or comment on?
no, I would just really like to thank you for inviting me here and taking an interest in this. I think union activity across the board is really important, and I'm glad you guys are taking an interest in this. And thank you.
Thank you so much.